Hey, everybody, we're back. It's
Yes.
Ian Khalil show. We
What
got
up?
Chisara Cool.
Yes, space.
We got Khalil back here, and we're actually coming to you live in video for the first time.
Yes.
Excuse me, headphones, but one of us wants to make the sound quality high. So at
Oh
least
my
one
God.
of us aren't going to contribute to the noise problem right now.
That would be me.
Just had to make sure the hair's popping. Right.
Right?
Me
Yes. Come on,
too.
with the
Me
hair
too.
jewelry, you can check us
Hey,
out.
you see all this beauty right here?
Okay, bald boss. That's what Jada called it. She called it a bald boss on the
Yeah.
Red Table Talk. So,
Don't get me started on data.
oh
Next time I'm
yes,
gonna
right.
shave it though, because then it's gonna be shaved and like popping. It's gonna be glowing. It's gonna be like
Like
a
shiny, like juices and very
yeah,
shiny.
yeah. It's gonna be popping. I'm gonna do real old school, real old school. Anyways, all right. Sorry we missed y'all. She's been busy in the streets doing big things, living
Yes.
her life. I've
Yes.
just been crying, waiting for Chi to come back in my life, and now she's back. And
Look at you
so,
manifesting.
can we not be manifesting? Because I can't get on those people right now. We got some other things to talk about. We ain't manifesting Nathan. Okay. Ain't manifesting Nathan. All right. So
You'll be all right. He'll be all right.
that's a perfect intro to what we're actually going to talk about. So,
Uh-huh.
in the news recently, big,
Hmm.
Supreme Court decision that's coming out supposedly got leaked about
Help
Roe
us.
versus Wade.
Help us.
Yeah, it's a little special. But we want to go back and talk about some history. Like, we like to go back to history in the show.
That's right. That's right.
So one of the things that people think is that if you're basically evangelical or Christian in the United States, you have to be anti-choice, right? And it's kind of funny because if you go back through the history of it, it wasn't always like that. And what do you think made them change, Chi?
Oh,
Come
the
on.
civil rights era.
Yes, but and more specific. Yep, that's good, right?
Thank you.
There you go. Because it's all most of
Was it
American history
Malcolm
has to do
X? Like,
with
did he
racism.
say something?
No, it was after Malcolm.
Really? What?
And I just and one thing we had
It
talked about
can't be
earlier.
Roe
So
versus Wade. Like, that wasn't the thing that changed it.
no, and Malcolm and Martin were actually also murdered before, like younger than she and I are now, like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah. Crazy.
so just to think about how much they did in their life,
Mhm.
yeah, shout out to them. But anyways,
Word.
so it wasn't Roe versus Wade. Roe versus Wade, evangelicals were like, like
Wait,
some
they
of
were
them.
silent like crickets?
No, it was like, okay, like it depends on which organization. There are several
Yeah.
organizations, but like the Southern Baptists were like, yeah, we support a women's right to choose. Other ones were like, well, we definitely think that this is before Roe was actually passed. Like, there should be legislation that allows for abortions to protect women for rape, incest. There was something else, child molestation, and then any time where the mental or physical health of the woman was at stake.
Right.
Which is all pregnancies, actually.
Right, actually.
Right.
But okay.
But yeah, they were all pro. And then, there was never anything anti. And of course, there were people who felt differently. So there were some people who were really, like anti-choice, but mostly it was thought of as a Catholic thing only, that only Catholics were anti-choice.
Yes,
right?
that's so true. I've forgotten about that. Yep.
Yeah.
That was how you could differentiate between the Catholic and the Protestant. They were definitely the ones who were like, abortion, no, like hell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And it's also kind of funny, like you read the Bible a lot more than I do, but the only actual references to abortion in the Bible are pro-abortion.
Yeah,
right. It's not pro-choice, but it's pro-abortion.
It's like, you can get rid of this now.
Well, no, it's like, in Numbers, like the woman's not making a choice. So in Numbers, if say that we're married, right? And I know you're cheating with Will Smith, right? And you're pregnant. I'm not sure who's the baby daddy, right? So I take you to the priest, right?
Okay.
And the priest gives you a magic potion.
Right.
And if the baby isn't mine, if it's not your husband's, God aborts the baby. Right.
But if it is my husband's, we get to keep it.
Yeah. You get to stay with the husband that just tried to kill your baby because he thinks you're cheating on him. Works out.
Well, so that's divine intervention.
Always
Khalil, that's divine intervention, which is what they're arguing. Like, if you weren't supposed to be pregnant, you wouldn't have gotten pregnant. Wasn't it? Which one of the senator gods was like, if you're raped, well, if you didn't really want it, you would have been able to squeeze out the sperm, right? Like, so he's basically God too.
Well, the worst part was that was actually started, that rumor was actually like started by a gynecologist, like back in the 50s.
Oh, I know you feel bad.
I mean,
those are your peoples. Yours. all you.
That's the thing. Like every profession has its bad people, right? But yeah, he was basically saying that there's some if you're getting raped, you have this magical way of stopping the sperm from making it to the egg.
I mean, the way that I'll call it the patriarchy, but it's really men in power, which I guess is the patriarchy, just love to say that what they do negatively towards women, somehow women are able to repel. Like the whole witch trial, the Salem's witch trial is because women somehow have these magical powers to stop men from doing bad things.
Right.
Can't you just control yourself? Isn't that what the Bible's supposed to be teaching you?
Wait a minute. Maybe if you kept your clothes on, we could control ourselves. Right?
So you're I've forgotten. Oh my God. Let me cover my neck now.
You ate the apple, right? You ate the apple, right? That was you?
What apple? There was no apple in the garden.
We was over here chilling. You got it down with the snake. You got down with the snake.
I'm like, what? That's perverted, actually. I got down with the snake. I mean, I am not down with bestiality.
Say, right? But that's what they're trying to say, right?
That's what they're trying to say.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
What?
But anyways, we're way off topic.
Yeah, we're way off. Go back. So what made it that the evangelicals decided to change things?
So Roe versus Wade was 73, right? So
yeah.
No big things came out, whatever. I mean, from the evangelical side, they were like, blah, blah, blah. So if we go back to what you're saying, the civil rights era, desegregation of schools happened in the late 50s, early 60s. So, good Christian white people in the South didn't want their kids going to school with these coloreds, the animals. So they created private schools. They called them segregation schools or whatever. But anyways, these schools got not-for-profit status.
Yep.
So, they didn't have to pay taxes. And also everyone who was paying their tuition for their kid wasn't paying taxes on those wages. Right. So eventually, actually, a group of Black parents in Mississippi, because Mississippi is where a lot of the civil rights come out. We talk about bad stuff in Mississippi, but Mississippi, a bunch of Black parents in Mississippi sued the Treasury and was like, this is not a charitable organization. They're violating the Civil Rights Act. They shouldn't get tax exempt status for violating civil rights law.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And they won, and all those schools lost their tax exempt status. And then Nixon also went through and made the Treasury go through and get rid of it for all of them and say any school that's segregated gets no federal funds, doesn't get any exempt status, etc.
Okay, remember that. Yep.
Yeah. So Nixon gone, Jimmy Carter's in.
Yeah. Right? Okay.
So Jerry Falwell Sr., who's super racist.
No, God.
Right. Wanted to
getting bad.
Right. Okay. Also, even the actual Christian universities started losing their tax exempt status because they were staying segregated.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So you can't have Liberty University and all these other ones. Oh no.
Right.
Right. So he was okay, Jimmy Carter, he's our homie. He's an evangelical too. He's going to help us with our Christian schools. And Jimmy's like, nah, bro. I'm from the South and I'm evangelical.
I'm a peanut farmer, but I ain't down with this shit.
Right. I'm not really trying to bring us back to segregation.
Right.
I'm not trying to go back to that. Y'all just going to have to chill. So Jerry Falwell wanted to get him out.
Oh.
So he started creating this thing, and Jimmy Carter was also pro-choice. So he started creating this thing of abortion's an issue for evangelicals, and we're on the side of the Catholics.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay.
All of us are on the side of Catholics. I've always been on the side of Catholics, and he actually rewrote it and said from the day that Roe was turned in. But if you actually go back to
but that's not true.
Ask him, and he was just like, meh.
Right.
Then that's when the evangelicals actually started to be anti-choice. So the whole evangelical anti-choice movement comes from racism, just like most of history in the United States comes from racism
because slavery. Right. Wow. Wait a second. So do they know this? Do evangelicals as a movement realize their own history?
That's not my people.
Those are not my people. Oh my God.
But anyways, there's I don't know how many. I don't think that many do. From when I was in the church, I don't think that many people know about it.
That's insane.
The Political magazine put out a really good what do you call those articles? Summary article? Not summary article.
Review?
Yeah, whatever. What are we gonna call it? Anyways, Political magazine put out an amazing article that actually covers all the details, goes through every single step if you want to.
Wait, which magazine did this?
Politico.
Oh, Politico. That's so funny. You called it a magazine. I've only ever known Politico to be online. So
it's an online magazine.
It's okay.
That's where I read it. Gee, I didn't get it in the mail. I didn't get it in the mail.
I didn't get it in the mail.
still getting my ACOG stuff in the mail, and my mom mails me stuff. But
right,
if you want me to get something, like, don't mail it, because the chance of me opening it, like, slim to none.
See, and I like mail. I want mail. I want handwritten letters. I want like, except from like, there's certain like, I don't know how they get my address, but they will come every month and start talking about all the things that are bad in healthcare. And I'm like, how do I even know you? I don't remember protests. Well, maybe I was. Okay. Anyway, that's besides the point. Yeah. So at this point, all the rollbacks, all the states that are trying to change the laws, or at least say that Roe v. Wade is like, anyway, I have so many thoughts in my head right now about this, especially with Oklahoma, I think was recently saying that, or one of the judges or whatnot was like, okay, we're going to pass the fact that incest and rape, those are the exceptions for abortions. However, they must be reported. And I'm thinking to myself, how many women actually report rape? Okay, that's one. Two, right. How many women actually realize they've been raped, sexually assaulted by somebody that they know? Since the majority is by somebody that they know, they don't realize that, oh, this that just took place in this space that we are in is an actual sexual assault. Don't realize it. They get pregnant. They don't report it. Now they want to have an abortion. And dude is saying, Oklahoma is saying, sorry, you didn't report it to the cops. I'm like, what are the cops gonna do? How does reporting it make it any more rapey? Like any more sexual assault, any more incest? Like it's already happened.
Yeah, but that's not their goal. Their goal is to make it harder for women to get abortion, right?
But for what? I know you don't know the answer, but for what?
It's what is the really benefit? To force people to be poor, right? You need more workers.
But okay, how does forcing people to be poor? How does forcing people to be, oppressed help them? Like, how does it help? How does it help?
So like, say the Walton family, right? Who owns Walmart, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So for every cashier, like when the cashiers are working, they produce about somewhere between $70 to $80 in profit. Right. So after all their costs, all the costs or whatever,
right?
Those cashiers per hour of just checking people out, right? Just their labor only.
Right.
Right. So the Walton family gets $70 per hour per cashier, and they give the cashiers like $11 an hour, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But they're making 70 to 80 profit.
Right. So that's the thing. So like there's a stupid thing about like, poor people are like messing from the system. No, it's rich people stealing from the system, right?
Yeah.
So the Walton family is just sitting there just making all kinds. So the more workers they have, the richer they are.
That just seems real diabolical. Like, no, it's, I mean, the system is set up that way, but it's like,
that's the only way the economy can grow is if you get more people buying things and more people making things. And every time someone makes something and buys something, wealthy people take most of the wealth of that, of the labor.
Right.
So the more laborers you have, I mean, that's the same thing. Like, if you go back all the way to like, feudal times, like the lords wanted as many serfs as possible because the more serfs they had, the more wealth they could take from each person.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. I was just watching this show called New Amsterdam on NBC, and it's based on a book by a physician who was running Bellevue Hospital in New York. So it's based off of Bellevue, and it's like the oldest public health hospital like in the country. Anyway, in that episode, apparently like the medical director of the hospital was like engaging in some fraudulent activities, like paying more money to the like higher ups and like taking it away from like, cutting the budget basically, like had cut out millions from the budget. So there were less workers, there was more work, and everybody was getting frustrated. And the old medical director, they really loved, and he was more like socialist. He was more like you. And so they were like, we want him back. And unfortunately, like, I guess there's some, TV drama thing that makes it hard for him to get back. By the end of the show, the group of people who were like, we really want him back, decided that they were going to go out and protest this medical director who was skimming off the top and giving it to all of her cronies instead of supporting the hospital staff. And I remembered as they were like chanting, like Dr. Fuentes has to go. Like that's what they were chanting. I was like, all of the orderlies, all of the technicians, all of the janitors, like the entire support staff of the hospital literally came out in protest, and that woman had to go. Like even the board was on board. And I was like, if in the United States of America, the least of these, right? Like the least of all of us came together, regardless of whatever title, category, identity they had, and said, we are done with this system, the system would be done.
Right.
But we can't get there. And I'm not understanding why. Like, even just if we rely solely on Black women in this country, like, we've gotten us this far. But y'all gonna have to come in. Like, I'm gonna need my Asian brothers and sisters. I'm gonna need my First Nations brothers and sisters. Like, all of our siblings come together and say, like, enough is enough. Let's change this. Let's get some order.
Right. But yeah, it would happen, right? So this is the thing, though. So the reason that they made up racism, right, is because like the poor white coal miners or the people working at Walmart or anyone else who is disenfranchised and happens to be white don't want to fight the man.
Oh, the big dude. Okay.
Right, they want to be worried about, the immigrants coming across the border to work in the fields. That's the reason I'm poor. You know what I mean? It's like that cartoon.
It's backwards.
Where, there's one dude, like he has like 8 cookies. And then, there's one other cookie, and he points to the guy like, hey, if you don't watch out, that guy over there is going to get your cookie. Well, he has like 8, you know what I mean?
Wait, you have 8, but it's because he's aspiring to be the guy with the 8.
Sometimes.
He doesn't want to be, right?
That's the thing about the American dream. Everyone thinks that they're going to be a part of the power structure at some point. So we like idolize them, etc. And it would all just be easier if we just kind of all just wanted some basic rights, right? Like
just basic. Just
if you didn't have to worry about like housing and food, right? Like if housing and food is going to be covered,
or healthcare for that matter.
I mean, that part too.
Like legit, just basic healthcare. Can I get into like an urgent care on time? Can I see my doctors on time? Do I have to wait like 15 months before I can actually see a physician? What?
Right. The other thing that killed me about the pandemic, when like a lot of things were shut down and people were worried about like getting kicked out of their homes for the evicted or whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, and they like protested, like armed protest to go back to work versus why are we paying our landlords, right? Why do the landlords need money right now?
Right.
Right. Like,
yeah.
But they were just like, I just want to go to work and die and maybe kill my family and my mom.
Right.
Whatever. As opposed to like, wait a minute, the house is already here, the apartment's here. Why do we need to pay someone who already has
I don't get it. Like I really don't. But then that's sort of like racism in America, right? Like there's the whole argument like Black people can't be racist and whatnot. Technically, yes, by definition, right? But we have all been indoctrinated into this racist system, and it takes a lot of work to undo all of that, right?
But Black people can be part of the racist structure to Black people. Like
yes, sure.
Like there's overseers, a real thing.
100%. That's part of being in the system. Like that's part of that indoctrination, and you have to be self-aware and also very aware of what is taking place to get out of that. But like you're not going to fight for your interests or the interests of those around you if you are caught up in the system that's saying like, pull up your bootstraps, go to work, like hopefully you'll get that American dream, like, no, that's not it.
We did that though.
We did. We all buy, this is my point. We all buy into it in some way, shape or form, but it's like, what is that thing that's going to be the tipping point? Like in that example that I was saying with New Amsterdam, like, okay, there was a tipping point for them that all of them rallied, magic of television, right? All of them rallied to come outside and do a 5-minute protest. And all of a sudden the woman is leaving her job.
Well, I mean, it happens all the time, right? Like, like the French Revolution, like the royal family in France never imagined that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And they took out everybody. Like, and there's the thing, like, it turns on a dime. Like you're saying, like, everyone just gets together and like, wait a minute, we have all the power. Like, like in the United States, all the people in the military, all the police officers are working class people.
Yes.
Like, they're not really.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a big thing of the abortion talking points. Like there's really good, like people get distracted. And this was one of the many things that criticisms I have of Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
when Trump did the dumb thing about, there's women who are 1 week from their due date who are having just babies just torn out.
Oh God, 45.
Right. And then Hillary Clinton, like her response was like, a woman's right to blah, blah, blah. Okay. At 39 weeks, no one is aborting the kid. Like, it would be more work, right? Like the baby comes out.
It would be way more work.
Right. The baby comes out, you put it up for adoption. Like there's no abortions at term, like a day before the due date. Like, that's not a thing.
That's not
no one's advocating for that. No, because at that point, it's not even for the woman's health. Like the baby's going to have to come out one way or the other from the woman. Like bringing the baby out alive is not any higher risk for the woman's life. And how would you even do it? Like just from someone who delivers babies, like how, like
how?
Right. Like
tell us how.
Like I'm gonna go in, like do a C-section, but like just
right.
What am I gonna do to the baby before I bring it out that makes it like just take it out, like kill it on the side?
Right.
Like where
does this happen? Oh my gosh. And like I feel
and they're serious about it. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Yes, they are very serious about it. I wonder if somebody like twisted a story about a late stage pregnancy that ended up in a stillbirth, which happens. And so like then the person has to have I don't know if they would have a DNC. Would you guys go in with a C-section for that? Like would you like induce labor?
You just induce labor.
You're just going to induce labor. Yeah. So like maybe that's somebody got that story and then it became this thing. But see, it becomes a thing. And then number 45 says it on Discord and all of a sudden everybody just running around acting crazy.
But the thing is that so many people use that argument. Like even there's like Republican congressmen during Congress who are asking physicians, well, would you support an abortion if the baby's halfway out of the birth canal? And then it's like, I don't understand. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I can't talk about like this alternate universe. Are we in the multiverse? Like,
what universe does this happen?
Like, what the heck?
With the hot dog fingers? Like, no, this is not. This is not the look on their faces, though. I believe there was a black physician, a woman who was her face.
Yes, she just like.
I wish I could remember her name, but I was like, I am there with you. I'm there with you, sis. Like, just.
Right. It's just how many face palms, like,
right? Right. This is not how it works. Basic anatomy. Everybody should be taught basic anatomy, not in 6th grade, not with that special talk. Which was a hot mess and a half. Oh my God. Yeah, anyway, I really do wish though that we had better education around it, just because we're such a Victorian society, puritanical society. Like the expectation is that you should not be engaging in any sexual activity until you're married. People are getting married later too. Like that's a whole nother ball game, but like, then you're supposed to do it. And you're not supposed to, like, how do you know yourself? How do you know what you want? How, like, it's not just two people coming together, like bumping uglies, like, and the genitalia is not ugly. I'm gonna be real legit about this, because parents will always talk about, like, oh, we don't use the proper terms and whatnot. Oh, it's too early. I'm like, from jump. Please be forward with your kid. Don't bump uglies. Genitalia are touching.
Private parts.
Private part. You can say private parts, but at least let your kid know what the proper terminology is. It's not even about stranger danger or not, blah, blah. It's just owning this body, because then you grow up to be like 40, 50, 60, and senators are trying to take over and you can't even describe what they're trying to take over.
Well, the other part of the argument is that everyone should be like pro-sex education, right? Mm-hmm. And pro-contraception access.
Yeah.
And increasing the minimum wage, giving more like paid maternal leave. Mm-hmm. All of these things will actually decrease the abortion rate, right?
Yeah, right.
So these are the reasons that most women end up getting an abortion, right? So if we want it to happen less often, why don't we fight poverty? Why don't we actually give contraception out? Teach people how to use contraception, when you're going to get pregnant, when you're not going to get pregnant. Like, let women who get pregnant keep their career, be able to come back from having a child, be able to bond with their child, help with like daycare, childcare. Like, there's so many ways we can make it easier for women to have children.
That's right.
Instead of just making it harder for abortion. And the other funny thing is that Democratic leadership actually decreases the abortion rate.
So you mean there are more abortions when Republicans are in power?
Yes, because their method is to just try to make it illegal versus make life better for poor people, right?
Okay, do you have some stats? You share some data? Like
I'm gonna have to look it up again. I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna find that source. But I remember reading that. It was funny because, like, yeah, Democratic during Democratic administrations, the abortion rate starts to go down, and then usually in Republican ones, it starts to go back up because, right? Because if you, those are the reasons, like, if you, that's the thing. If a woman who doesn't have the means to take care of herself, can't take a break from her job,
right?
Can't afford the baby after the fact,
right?
Those are the things that those are the decisions that people are making most of the time. Like, I can or can't do this, right?
That's true. That's it. Ugh, we have so much work to do. Okay, no, somebody else can do that. I'm just gonna spread love. See, and this is what happens. Like, you're trying to get the group together, and folks are like, "No, I just want to go and do this. Oh, I just want to go and do that." And it's like, at least on,
what is we gonna do?
Yeah, there's got to be some alignment, and I'm sure there are people out there who are trying their best, like, to make that alignment happen and to get the movement going. But I guess we haven't reached the tipping point. I don't know. We haven't reached the tipping point. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's 7 justices on the Supreme Court that are all conservative, if it's a Republican entire, and when I say Republican and Democrat, to be clear, I mean Republican and Democrats. If the Republicans take over Congress and then, like, all of these state legislatures and whatnot, whoo, child, Handmaid's Tale. Like, and I'm not saying that it will be paradise when you have Democrats in, because we still have to deal with racism and sexism and classes. We have to deal with the isms. There's.
I'm just realizing that your background's not your background.
Why are you hating? Why are you hating
wait a minute.
so much? So much that you gotta talk about my background.
And then I'm like,
who are you? Like, what are you? Like, where do you come from? No, my background is mine. Okay. Oh yes, when I do this, yeah, you can see the squiggle. Yeah, it's it's life. I didn't fix the lighting. I was just like, let's just talk, and so I talked.
Make it happen. Make it happen. Make it happen.
Can't believe you. Okay, I can do beige in the background, but I might blend in. So hence.
Are you trying to say I'm hot yellow? I don't know what happened, but it felt racist. That felt super
Did it feel racist?
It felt colorist.
See, I told you.
Colorist, racist,
we've all been indoctrinated.
Homophobic. Right. Wait a minute. In a minute.
It's like, pause. I am 100% Igbo landing. Anyway, dude, what else?
Right.
What else? Okay, no, good. Yay. Look, we're back. And I did you a favor. I got on video. See? Come on,
everyone's excited to see our faces. Our wonderful backgrounds.
Right.
One of us is a real background.
No, you need to get a real background, because like, you blending in a little. So, like, get some color.
Wow. But anyways, this is the Chi and Khalil show. Hold it down one time for the West Side. We out.
Peace.